Howdy, I'm Dr. Alejandro.
And I'm Dr. Emily.
And as many of you know, we have 3 clinics on our first 3 years in practice.
If you enjoy our content, make sure you subscribe and share with your colleagues and future colleagues to get on the path to victory.
What's up, everybody? Today I'm here with Emily again, and then we have a special guest, Mr. Daron Pacheco.
What's going on?
What's going on? Hey, it's good having you here, dude. We've been asked a lot about social media. We don't know anything about social media, to be honest, so we have the head honcho of social media here. A couple questions that people have asked us, and we basically ask you as well, like, what are the common questions that you get asked frequently by business owner? So let's break the ice on that. That way we don't waste anyone's time. You cool with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, so one of the questions is, what are the biggest challenges new business owners face with social media?
So one of the things that's one of the things that we help people with, right? And business owners often they try to do it on their own a lot of times. And their job is to be the business owner, not the social media manager. Mm-hmm. And so finding some way and someone to delegate that knows what they're doing, I feel like that's the biggest challenge. And so that's kind of what we try to help with is implement. Y'all talk about it all the time, is implement the systems in order to help people in the most efficient way possible, which is for what we do. We teach people how it works and what to do.
Got you. And when it comes to social media, I know that changes a lot. There's a lot of social media out there. So for a business owner, like for a simple business, what are the social medias that you recommend the most on like posting? And like, what do you recommend? Because everyone thinks it's just running ads and like having offers there. But I think you mentioned the opposite of like kind of creating a brand. Mm-hmm. So what do you have about that?
Yeah. So first of all, I've run like maybe 2 ads the whole time I've been in business. We're about to turn 3 years old. And building and making organic content that does well, it does way more for us than any ads do. If we do run an ad, it's only something that has done well organically. So like if you have a video pop off and get 20,000 views, you know from the algorithm that the people loved watching that. And so if it's something that you're like, hey, we have some ad money, boost that post. Don't make a Canva graphic and do it that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. What was the question?
What social media do you like?
Like what platforms?
Yeah, what platforms?
So I think it depends what type of industry you're in. So the way that we think about it is like TikTok. I think there's like 4 or 5 big ones. So TikTok, we'll start there. We look at age groups and demographics of like who's on that platform. So probably the what's after Gen or before Gen Z or after
like
Gen Z?
Beta or something?
Yeah,
Delta?
whatever the one. So
younger.
Like probably 21, 23 and under.
Gotcha.
Are primarily on TikTok.
Yeah.
At least the percentage of users is higher. Now there are ages, everybody's on every platform, but like over that 50% mark, it's going to be that younger generation. And so then you go to Instagram, and that's going to be your 22 years old to like 35 year olds. Just because it was big whenever we were growing up. Mm-hmm. And so that's the one I love the most. That's the one I push the most, that one in YouTube. But that's kind of the way are the people that you are attracting on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Facebook, it's going to be your
parents.
Millennials maybe.
Yeah.
Are y'all millennials?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know about those things.
So people probably above 35 years old.
Oh, those are going to be Darren.
We're not millennials.
Listen, hey man. Anyway,
yeah. Okay, so it basically comes up to the target market kind of.
Target market. So who is your audience that you're trying to hit?
Gotcha.
So we usually tell people to pick 2 of those. So Instagram and Facebook could be good for you guys. I don't know, what's y'all's target audience age?
Yeah, so we're like young families. So we're looking for like moms specifically with kids who are under, 5 and under.
So like Instagram would be heavy on y'all. That doesn't mean neglect completely the other platforms, but that's going to be probably your main one that you want to hit. And then YouTube, everybody should have a YouTube channel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I saw this stat, actually, Hermosi. I learned this from Hermosi. It's like the percentage of people who earn over 6 figures a year or the most percentage is on YouTube. I think it's like 60% of people who watch YouTube have a household income of over 100,000.
Okay. Wow.
And so depending on what you're selling and what your service is, like that's kind of how we gauge things, and that's where we start.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it just like we focus purely on what you're posting after that.
Gotcha.
So you mentioned YouTube, and that's obviously more like video centered, right? You don't do a lot of audio on YouTube, I imagine. Your main job is like a videographer, and I saw you post something, I think it was like yesterday, but it was like when I see somebody say you can just shoot this on an iPhone camera. What is so different? Like what stands out about actually professional videography versus just Susie at your front desk making a clip for Instagram on her iPhone?
Okay, where should we start with this? So let me just put, before we get into this discussion, iPhones are great. I think you should use your iPhones. Whenever it comes to creating content on like TikTok and Instagram, that kind of thing, iPhones are perfect. Honestly, people relate more to that because everybody has an iPhone. And so they're great. Don't not use your iPhone, but whenever it comes to like higher quality stuff, like a podcast, if you're making a highlight video, like a commercial style thing, that's whenever we would come in and use our cameras and do the thing, because we try not to sell. That was just a funny, I don't even know what made me think of that, but we don't really try to sell like, hey, we have video equipment and we can record a video. We have to go at an angle of like in 2025, because content is so like, businesses are dependent on it so heavily, we have to sell a service that's beyond just a camera. So like it's like once you have the content, what do you do with it after? And the actual value of the content is way more important than what camera you're shooting on. So I know that's a little bit different take of what that video said, but it's finding ways to be the most relatable with people. And so I use my iPhone on a lot of stuff, and I have access to cinema cameras. And so, for example, one of the ladies who, she's been on the podcast before, she has like an iPhone 12 Pro or something, a little older, a few years old. She, in 1 year, she grew her following to almost 500,000 followers in 1 year with her iPhone. No microphones, no nothing fancy, her iPhone. And she edited it on Instagram. And so if you got an iPhone, you're already ahead of the game and you should be making content. If you have a flip phone, now you can start being like, yeah, I have an excuse, I can't do content. But
and how often? Because I know like people say Gary Vee talks about like you have to make like 5 posts a day. Like what's your recommendation for someone starting from scratch their business?
So there's 2 different answers. One is for content creators and one is for like the average Joe business owner. If you're going to be pursuing content as a full-time gig, then you're going to be you have to post every day, like 7 times a week minimum on every platform. That will make you grow the fastest. If you're a business owner and you are doing it on your own, because that's a lot of people do have to do it at the beginning due to budget reasons, which is fine. I would say no less than 4 times a week be posting, especially on the short form platforms, which are Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. To get started on YouTube, I would say at the beginning, if you're just starting, make a goal to do 1 a month, 1 video on YouTube a month. Because it's going to take a while. You have to figure out how to edit it and do all the things. So that would be my recommendation. Oh, on stories, if you know what stories are, they're something you post for 24 hours and then they go away. Be posting at least 2 to 3 times on your stories every day.
It's good to know.
Don't do too much because people are going to get annoyed.
Yeah. So we just hired the lovely Naomi. She works with you guys here at Howdy Studio.
Howdy certified, baby.
Yeah,
Howdy
she sure
certified.
is. She's so knowledgeable with so many things, but social media is definitely her jam. Our social media has completely transformed since we brought her on, and she's just been like a key player. She was mentioning to me, we had a post, I don't know, not that long ago, but she was like, this post is messing up your algorithm. Like it's actually hurting you to have this here. I didn't even know that was possible. But what are some like mistakes similar to that business owners can make on social media or on any type of like advertising and stuff.
So make it all like consistent as far as like the value that you're bringing. If somebody sees you post like something really good and then you post something that's like awful and nobody likes, it's gonna like the algorithm is not gonna reward you the same as if you just post consistent good stuff. And so I think I know which post she's talking about. If that goes up the same day another great post goes up, sometimes it can suppress the other post because you posted it after and it's trying to prioritize the top content that you put out.
Right.
So with short form, that's really important. It's like you got to be consistent. It has to be valuable or entertaining, something that people want to engage with and share, like and comment and engage with. Because ultimately, we teach people you create your content for the consumer, not for yourself. And so if you look at it from that mindset, your numbers are gonna start multiplying very quick.
Yeah.
That's good right there.
What about, let's suppose Emily's starting a business next month and she's starting social media from scratch. What are your recommendations there?
Get an iPhone if you don't have an iPhone. Invest in like at least a decent wireless microphone, either the ones like you guys have, Hollyland microphones. Go look them up.
Should they use your referral code?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I got affiliate links. But yeah, get a decent wireless microphone, get a tripod for your phone, and just start. That would be the biggest thing. It's like people are intimidated a lot of times to even start because it's like it feels like such a daunting task.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get better unless you get the reps.
Get it out there.
Yeah.
I've heard that too. A lot of people are afraid to put out content too because they don't like to be behind a camera. And I was one of those people. I didn't want to do this podcast because I don't like to hear the sound of my own voice, for example. But what would you say to people who kind of have that like fear in the back of their mind?
I just had a thought about that. So the more you do it, the more you're going to get better at it, right? Dang, I really lost my train of thought there. Repeat the question.
So people who have the fear in the back of their mind of like they don't want to be behind camera, they don't want to put themselves out there,
They don't like their voice.
They don't like the sound of their voice.
Okay, I got it back. So people aren't going to see the very beginning stuff that you put out anyways. You're going to be posting for maybe a month, 2 months before you start getting traction. Since nobody's seeing your stuff, that's the best time to practice. You don't want to go in, if you just jumpstart to 100,000 followers and you start making content, you're going to lose followers because it's bad because you haven't practiced. And so the best time to practice is at the very beginning when nobody knows who you are, because I mean, nobody does at the very beginning. Everybody starts out with 0 followers. And so just literally start making. It's going to be cringy. It's going to feel awkward and bad, but if you don't get through those awkward phases, you're not going to get to the phases where you can actually make great impacts and bring value to people.
And at the end of the day, even if 20 people see it, imagine a room full of 20 people, you're going to poop yourself still talking to them. So, like
that's another thing
even
too.
If it's 10, 15, 20 people, 100 people, at the end of the day, it's, you're delivering your message.
And so that's one thing that we've talked about before. It's like, if you get 100 views on a video, don't be sad or upset or feel like a failure, because if you picture a room of 100 people, would you be willing to even get up and speak in front of them? That's quite a few people who see it.
That's a lot of people.
Some people average 1,000 to 5,000 views a video, and they're like, I don't know how come we're not getting more views. I feel like nobody's seeing it. 5,000 people is more than the town that I grew up in. And so, just think of like what 5,000 people would look like in a room.
Yeah.
That'll make a big difference.
What's your biggest advice when it comes to social media for a business owner?
I would, like just earlier, get started. Like, don't wait another day, because that next post, you never know, could go viral and change your whole life and your whole business. It's like playing the lottery at times, especially on TikTok and Instagram.
What have been some of the more, like, if we kind of set aside trends and fads, because that always happens on social, what are some of the like pretty consistently good social media posts that go viral, that get shared and have a lot of views?
Yeah. So beyond the trend, so the trend surfing, we call it, it's good at the beginning when you're trying to gain traction. Now, I don't encourage people to only do that because you're dependent on the trends. and nobody's following you because of you at this point. They're following you because of the trends. So then you start getting into the territory of like personal brand. And so personal brand is just what somebody thinks about you whenever they think about a product. And so post more than trends, post things like POV shots, like of your day. What are you doing? People want to see the behind the scenes. And so, like for an example, for the chiropractor office, you see your day to day every single day. So it's nothing crazy, right? We work with cameras every single day. And so it becomes like muscle memory. People outside of this realm, they don't see that. And so that's the things that they find interesting is like if you wear a GoPro while you pop somebody's back, that would probably do very well. Just showing your life and being the content instead of having to always like make the content. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's more the personal brand side. And that is going to take you further than the trends will in the long-term vision.
Long game. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
So create a personal brand, create content about what you're doing day to day, and be the content. Don't make the content. That's my advice.
I like that. That's really good.
Be the content.
I'm going to shift a little bit from social media to podcasting because we've been doing this. It's going to be a year in the summertime, which is crazy. And I think you shared the statistic 5%.
Yeah, it's like 5% make it past 20 episodes or something.
Yeah, which is crazy, right? But how is having a podcast for a business beneficial to that business? How does that help them grow?
Yeah.
Is that more about branding?
So podcast is what we call a long format content. And so whenever you spend some time with people, and this goes like in person too. So like if you go eat dinner with somebody for an hour, like after you leave, you feel a little bit closer to that friend because you were sitting there talking with them for an hour. So whenever you're filming a 30-minute podcast of a conversation with a camera that's a fly on the wall, it feels like people are in the conversation. And so Google put out this stat last year. It takes 7 hours of people watching your content online for them to trust you enough to buy something from you. That's like the average time. And so if you don't have 7 hours of content, then you need to get 7 hours of content. Y'all are way above and beyond 7 hours of content at this point, which is great. And so more and more, you'll see more people reaching out, building that trust, because oftentimes, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but like influencers that you follow on Instagram, you kind of feel like you have a friendship with them at times, even though they don't know who you are. And so that's the biggest key to podcasting is just building that trust and relationship. The more time you can spend with somebody, the better in the long term.
So you would recommend business owners start a podcast?
You should have a podcast. Everybody should have a podcast.
Cool.
It's just the same with content in general. If you don't have content, if you don't have a podcast, then like you're gonna kind of get left behind. And so even if it's the podcast that is your one post on YouTube a month, then definitely go for it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. And then you can repurpose this stuff and create short form content for your other platforms.
Yeah.
We know about that.
Yeah, that's
That's genius. 2 for 1 there.
Two for one.
How can people find you in social media?
Instagram, just Daron Dravon. Dravon's my middle name. Everybody asks me that. Daron Dravon on Instagram, Daron Pacheco on YouTube, howdymedia.com.
It's been super fun working with Howdy Media, working with you, Daron. You guys are absolute experts at what you do. You make us look good. You make us sound good, even when we mess up or don't know what to say. So we really have loved working with you.
And even business advice. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, y'all have been awesome clients to work with. Y'all have filmed more episodes than anybody that we've worked with. So props to you guys.
Let's go.
Hopefully y'all have seen some. Let me ask you a question real quick. What are some of the benefits that y'all have seen from the podcast?
Yeah. For me personally, is just sharing the knowledge that we have, because I wish someone would have done that before, and just for free, basically. Like, I don't want to charge for this. I just want to give the information for free of my failures, and from there I created great relationships with people that I've been able to help. And by me helping those chiropractors that I've helped, that's been like 5 to 10 chiropractors that I helped, probably more than 500 lives have been changed. Because if you think about it, I'm helping 5 to 10 chiropractors. They're helping more communities out there, so and they met me just by hearing the podcast. So that is, pretty humbling for sure.
Yeah, I love that, the outreach. For me, this is gonna sound super selfish, but I feel like it's like really nice for me to get out and like talk because I have so many ideas in my head at all times. And since having a baby, I don't journal anymore because ain't nobody got time for that. So I feel like this is a form of like personal, it's like documenting our journey as well. Because I know, like you said, those first podcasts, I actually went back and listened and I was like, oh my gosh, like, and that wasn't that long ago, but how much we've grown and like developed and we get better at it each time. So it's like selfishly, it's fun for us to come in the studio, to hang out, to cut up with you guys, and just like, I don't know, document our experience and like you said, help others too.
Yeah, I feel like I've learned so much with us being behind the scenes for all of the episodes in here. I have learned so much about chiropractic that I never learned about before. I've learned so much about women in general because we have multiple women podcasts going on. I'm about to start learning about like a bunch of medical device things.
Yeah.
They sell medical devices. So it's been a cool experience. So it's
cool.
just learn in general.
Yeah.
So get uncomfortable, go out there, start your podcast, and thank you, Daron, for being here today with us and helping us.
Thank you.